Welcome to round 5 of the RSPK Throwback tournament held at Full Grip Games. On the left we have Ian, piloting Gardevoir EX. Ian's game plan is to use Gardevoir EX's Imprisoned Pokepower to shut down the opponent's Pokepowers while pressuring the active Flame Ball and move energies around to a suite of tech attacking options with Gardevoir's Energy Jump Pokepower. On the right we have John, piloting Grouler. John's deck aims to attack with Stantler's Push Away to deplete the opponent of resources, to stall the opponent, while setting up Magma's Groudon with Cessation Crystal to shut off all Pokepowers and bodies, bypassing Groudon's Power Saver Pokebody. Ian wins the flip and starts us off. He passes over to John. John draws for turn and plays Mary's Request, drawing 3 cards. He attaches a Darkness Energy and a Cessation Crystal to his active Stantler, shutting off all Pokepowers and Pokebodies, and attacks with Screechy Voice, dealing 10 damage. Ian draws for turn and plays Holland Mentor, discarding Lugia EX, searching up to 3 Pokemon with 100 HP or less, revealing Ralts, Holland's Magnemite, and Holland's Castform, putting them into his hand. He benches Ralts and a Pidgey. He attaches Holland's Magnemite to Ralts and uses Calm Mind, healing a damage from Ralts. John draws for turn and puts Cursed Stone into play. He attaches another Cessation Crystal to his bench Stantler. He plays Rocket's Advent, both players shuffling their hands into their deck, and drawing equal to their remaining prizes, with both players drawing 6 cards. He attaches a Fighting Energy to Stantler, and attacks with Push Away, with Ian revealing his hand, and John choosing a Trainer card, picking Rare Candy, discarding it from Ian's hand. Ian draws for turn and plays Holland Adventurer, discarding a card, drawing 3 cards. He attaches Holland's Castform to Ralts, returning an energy to his hand, and attacking with Calm Mind, healing 2 damage counters from Ralts. John draws for turn and plays Castaway, searching his deck for a supporter, tool, and basic energy, finding Castaway, Cessation Crystal, and a Fighting Energy, putting them into his hand. He attaches a Fighting Energy to Stantler and plays Swoop Teleport, searching his deck for a basic Pokemon, finding Magma's Groudon, discarding his active Stantler and replacing it. He attacks with Pulverize, taking the knockout on Ralts and drawing a prize card. Ian promotes Pidgey and draws for turn. He plays Rare Candy, involving Pidgey into Pidgeot. He attempts to use Quick Search, and John reminds him of the Cessation Crystal in play, shutting off all powers and bodies. Ian plays Holland Transceiver, turning Holland Mentor from his discard pile to his hand, playing it, discarding a card. He searches up a Magma's Numel, Ralts, and a Holland's Castform, putting them into his hand. He benches both Ralts and Numel. He attaches a Holland's Magnemite to Pidgeot and ships the turn. In between turns, all Pokemon with Pokepowers take a damage thanks to Curse Stone. John draws and benches another Groudon, attaching a Fighting Energy and a Cessation Crystal to it. He plays Castaway, searching up a Lynette's Net Search and a Fighting Energy, putting them into his hand. He attacks with Linear Attack, dealing 20 damage to Numel. In between turns, all Pokemon with Pokepowers take damage from Curse Stone. Ian draws for turn and attaches a Holland's Magneton, returning an energy to his hand. He plays Rocket's Advent, both players shuffling their hands into their deck, with Ian drawing 6 and John drawing 5. He evolves Ralts into Kirlia and attacks with Pidgeot's Clutch, 40 damage and preventing Groudon from retreating. In between turns, all Pokemon with Pokepowers take a damage with Curse Stone. John draws for turn and attaches a Darkness Energy to his active Groudon. He plays Professor Oak's Research, shuffling his hand into his deck and drawing 5 cards. He attacks with Pulverize, dealing 60 damage after buffs and resistance. In between turns, Curse Stone deals the damage to Pidgeot, knocking it out, and John takes a prize card. Ian promotes Kirlia and draws for turn. He evolves Kirlia into Delta Gardevoir EX and attaches a Fire Energy to it. He plays Holland Mentor, discarding a card and searching up a Holland's Magnemite, Holland's Castform, and a Kyogre EX, putting them into his hand. He passes back to John, with Gardevoir EX taking a damage from Curse Stone between turns. John draws and attaches a Fighting Energy to his benched Groudon. He plays Lynette's Net Search, searching his deck for 3 Pokemon with different types, searching up a Stantler, Holland's Voltorb, and a Rocket's Wobbuffet, putting them into his hand. He uses Linear Attack, dealing 20 more damage to the benched Numel. In between turns, all Pokemon with Pokepowers take a damage from Curse Stone. Ian draws for turn. He attaches a Warp Energy to Gardevoir EX, switching it with one of his benched Pokemon, promoting Numel. He ships the turn, with Gardevoir taking a damage from Curse Stone. John draws for turn and attaches a Holland's Voltorb to Stantler. He plays Scott, searching his deck for 3 in any combination of supporters and stadiums, finding Castaway, Stevens of Ice, and a Desert Ruins, putting them into his hand. He uses Linear Attack, dealing 20 damage to the benched Gardevoir EX. Between turns, Gardevoir takes a damage from Curse Stone. Ian draws for turn and attaches a Holland's Castform to Gardevoir EX, returning Warp Energy to his hand. He passes back to John, with Gardevoir taking a damage counter from Curse Stone. John draws for turn and plays Castaway, searching up Mr. Stone's Project, Cessation Crystal, and a Fighting Energy, putting them into his hand. He attaches a Fighting Energy to Groudon and retreats into his other Groudon, using Linear Attack, dealing 20 damage to Gardevoir EX. Curse Stone puts a damage counter on Gardevoir between turns. Ian draws for turn and benches Kyogre EX. He attaches a Warp Energy to Numel, switching into Gardevoir EX. He attacks with Flame Ball, dealing 80 damage to Groudon and moving an energy from Gardevoir EX to his benched Kyogre EX. Gardevoir takes a damage counter from Curse Stone between turns. John draws for turn and plays Desert Ruin, replacing Curse Stone. He attaches a Lightning Energy to Groudon. He benches Stantler, attaching a Cessation Crystal to it. He plays Rocket's Admin, with both players shuffling their hands into their deck, with Ian drawing 6 and John drawing 4. He attacks with Pulverize, taking the knockout and drawing 2 prize cards. EX Pokemon with maximum HP of at least 100 take a damage counter between turns from Desert Ruins. Ian promotes Kyogre EX and draws for turn. He plays Windstorm, discarding Desert Ruins and John's active Cessation Crystal from play. He plays another Windstorm, discarding Cessation Crystal from John's benched Groudon and Stantler. He evolves Magma's Numel into Magma's Camerupt. He plays Rocket's Admin, with both players shuffling their hands into their deck, with Ian drawing 6 and John drawing 2. He plays Rare Candy, evolving Ralts into Delta Gardevoir. He attaches a Fire Energy to Gardevoir. He uses Gardevoir's Energy Jump Pokepower, moving an energy from Kyogre EX to Camerupt. He retreats Kyogre thanks to the Flotation Pokebody, switching into Camerupt. He attacks with Flame Ball, dealing 50 damage and moving an energy back to Kyogre EX, taking the knockout on Groudon and drawing a prize card. John promotes Stantler and draws for turn. He plays Mr. Stone's Project, searching his deck for 2 Fighting Energy, putting them into his hand. He attaches a Fighting Energy to Stantler and attacks with Push Away, discarding Ian's Windstorm, dealing 20 damage to Camerupt. Ian draws for turn and plays TV Reporter, drawing 3 cards, discarding Kirlia. He benches Ditto. He attaches a Warp Energy to Camerupt, switching into Ditto. He uses Gardevoir's Energy Jump Pokepower, moving an energy up to Ditto. He attacks with Copy, copying Stantler's Push Away, dealing 20 damage, and John reveals his hand, with Ian discarding his Rocket's Admin. John draws for turn and attaches a Fighting Energy to Stantler. He plays Pokemon Retriever, shuffling Stantler and Groudon back into his deck. He attacks with Push Away, dealing 20 damage and discarding Ian's Holland Transceiver. Ian draws for turn and attaches Holland's Magnemite to Ditto. He plays Holland Scientist, discarding a card and drawing to match hand size with John, drawing a singular card. He uses Gardevoir's Energy Jump Pokepower, moving an energy from Ditto to Camerupt, and retreats into Camerupt. He attacks with Flame Ball, moving an energy back to Kyogre EX, taking the knockout and drawing a prize card. John promotes Stantler and draws for turn. He attacks with Screechy Voice, dealing 10 damage and confusing Camerupt. Ian draws for turn and plays Professor Elm's Training Method, searching his deck for an evolution Pokemon, finding Delta Gardevoir. He plays Pokemon Retriever, returning Holland's Castform from his discard pile to his hand. He attaches Holland's Castform to Camerupt, returning Warp Energy to his hand. He attacks with Flame Ball, flipping heads through confusion, dealing 50 damage to Stantler, and moving an energy to his benched Gardevoir. John draws for turn and attacks with Screechy Voice, taking the knockout on Camerupt and drawing a prize card. Ian promotes Delta Gardevoir and draws for turn. He plays Pokemon Retriever, returning Holland's Castform from his discard pile to his hand. He attaches Holland's Castform to Gardevoir, returning an energy to his hand. He attacks with Black Magic, dealing 30 damage and taking the knockout on Stantler, drawing a prize card. John promotes Groudon and draws for turn. He plays Lynette's Net Surge, searching up a Rocket's Wobbuffet and Stantler, putting them into his hand. He benches Wobbuffet and attaches a Psychic Energy to it. He benches Umbreon Star, using the Dark Ray Pokepower, choosing a random card from Ian's hand, discarding Ian's Warp Energy. He passes back over to Ian. Ian draws for turn and plays Holland Transceiver, returning Holland Adventure from his discard pile to his hand. He plays Holland Adventure, discarding Delta Pidgey, drawing 4 cards. He attaches a Fire Energy to Kyogre EX. He attacks with Black Magic, dealing 50 damage to Groudon. John draws for turn and plays Pokemon Retriever, returning Holland's Voltorb to his hand. He attaches it to Groudon and retreats into Rocket's Wobbuffet, choosing 3 in any combination of Rocket's Secret Machine and tool cards, choosing 2 Cessation Crystal and a Pokemon Retriever, shuffling them back into his deck. Ian draws for turn and attacks with Black Magic, dealing 100 damage with weakness, taking the knockout on Wobbuffet and drawing a prize card. John draws for turn and chips it back to Ian. Ian draws for turn and attacks with Gardevoir's Black Magic, taking a knockout and drawing a prize card. John draws, looks at his hand, and plays Mr. Briny's Compassion, returning his only Pokemon in play to his hand, and Ian wins the game. What a comeback. John was able to quickly aggress, shutting down all Pokepowers and Pokebodies with Cessation Crystal, while turning off his own Groudon's Power Saver Pokebody, allowing him to take early game knockouts in combination with building damage from Curse Stone. However, John's aggression may have been his undoing, with the lack of onboard engines causing Rocket's admin to pare down his hand size after every use, while refreshing Ian's hand back up to 6 cards. Despite Ian's shaky start and limited access to Pokepowers, he was able to rebuild with a massive tempo swing, taking out almost all of John's Cessation Crystals and Desert Ruins, allowing him to pivot between attackers with Delta Gardevoir's Energy Jump Pokepowers. The most valuable card in today's match goes to Delta Gardevoir. Gardevoir's Energy Jump Pokepower allowed Ian to constantly pivot between attacking options, with the help of Warp Energy sending his active to the bench and moving energy to his new active with Energy Jump. Without Gardevoir's Pokepower, Ian would not have been able to have the breadth of attacking options available to him, potentially allowing John to target down Ian's best options before charging them up for an attack. Make sure to tune in next time for our top 8 of our RSPK Throwback tournament, and check out the streamed rounds over on Tricky Gym, linked in the description. This has been the Holland Scientist. Until next time.